you have a couple words for us.
Absolutely. I think I finished all the waterworks yesterday, so emotionally probably going to get a straightforward guy up here. It was a great weekend for Loyola, great weekend for our lacrosse program. I just am so proud of my locker room and the way that these guys went about their business all season long. There's so many people to thank, because it's not just this locker room. It starts with our administration. It starts with Father Linane, Jim Paquette, and many that came in front of them that had a vision for a small school like Loyola to compete at a very high level. Guys like Father Sellinger, Father Ridley, Joe Boylan, Dr. Susan Donovan, just so many that really had a vision for this institution and certainly this program. And this weekend was about those people. This weekend was about our alumni and those that have worn this jersey for so many years that have been close. Again, this is a great feeling, and we're going to cherish this moment for a long time. This will always be a special team in my heart. They know that. But it was a great weekend for the Hounds. I'll leave it at that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Ali with WYPR. Coach, just talk a little bit about the journey, because 22 years ago you were a student at Loyola, and you lost in the national championship game. What do you remember about packing your bags and moving into that dorm, and that feeling you had of being a part of this wonderful institution, and just your general thoughts fast forwarding to yesterday and seeing these guys and just the full breadth of the experience?
Well, it's funny because Coach Vagness, who's on my staff at the moment, and I were classmates, so we've had a chance to talk about those feelings a lot over the past weekend, as we're always roommates on the road together. We came to a program in 1987 that had never made the tournament, and in our sophomore year we went to the first round and lost. In my junior year we went undefeated, made it to the quarterfinals because back then there was a bye, and then lost. And then in my senior year we went to the national championship game and had an opportunity to do something that we thought was truly remarkable, and lost. But we felt like Loyola had arrived, and Loyola was second to none in our opinion. And now to fast forward, to just have these young men, walk off of this, walk out of this locker room, with their heads held high, and know that they've done something that no other program here at Loyola has ever done, and that's to bring a national championship to this university, certainly in the men's lacrosse program. It gives me just goosebumps, along with so many of our alumni that they were able to do something that we all were trying for and striving for, and they did it with class, they did it with dignity and character, and here we go. It's a good group of young men.
Charlie, hi, Kevin Cowper from the Sun. Can you talk a little bit about what this great year for Loyola athletics, culminating with your championship, what's it going to do for the school? How do you see this helping the school?
I'm hoping that it's an easier recruit. I'm hoping that the stands are filled every Saturday going forward. I'm hoping that Loyola is a mainstay where we are. For a long time we talked about being a top 10 team, and when I joined when I was named the head coach 7 years ago, we walked into the locker room, or certainly our first meeting in the film room, and we said we don't have the right to talk about a national championship. We don't have that right. We had the right to talk about a conference tournament, and hopefully that was our way to get to the conference championship and then possibly an AQ down the road. This team has the right to talk about a national championship going forward. And I think a lot of things, when you're able to talk about a national championship going forward, come a little bit easier for you. And I'm very fortunate, you know, to have a very passionate staff, the best assistant coaches in the country, and I know that they'll use this to motivate, to move this forward, to move this program forward in the right way.
Charlie, but Bruce Cunningham, Fox 45, I want to piggyback on what Kevin said. We're sitting here in this beautiful new stadium, and you guys have just won a national championship. I mean, to say that the athletic program's on an upswing would be a little trite, but I mean, you're right in the middle of something pretty special right now, aren't you?
Absolutely. I think these guys would tell you when they drove up the driveway about 3 years ago, they knew that Loyola had made a strong commitment to our sport. And obviously it's coming, these young men have paid Loyola back immensely. But again, it's been a work in progress. It's not something that just happens with the bells and the whistles. It takes character, and it takes, you know, passion, and it takes tremendous leadership in our locker room, and that's what this championship is about.
This is for any of the players. Brett Hyman, Comcast Sportsnet. What was the ride back last night and the reception you guys got once you got back on campus?
Dylan, you want to start out?
I mean, we after the game we met up with some of the parents and the fans, just kind of a tailgate, so we were able to, I mean, enjoy it there, talk with our friends, family, teammates. Then the bus ride back, I mean, it was a long one, I won't lie about that. But I mean, we just enjoyed each other. Such a great feeling coming off a national championship. When we got back here, pulling up to Ridley, just it's kind of a surreal feeling, especially for the seniors, our last trip coming back home. But if you're going to go out, it's the best way with the national championship. That our picture up there in 2012, national champions on the Jumbotron, I mean, it's pretty neat.
Guys, anyone else want to fill in on that?
It was like 2:30 in the morning, so there wasn't any reception.
You want to talk about what happened on the field?
We got off the bus and we all went out in the field, ran one last sprint together, and just broke it down like we would any other practice, just for the last time. It was like Dylan said, just good for our seniors to just do that one more time, kind of like he said, setting it out on top.
Eric, you're from here, Severna Park, and so you're not unfamiliar with what Loyola's been over the years. Can you truthfully say that when you signed here, you thought you'd be sitting here talking about a national championship?
I knew when I verbally committed to Coach Toomey and everybody at Loyola that, they were an up-and-coming program. They made it back to the national tournament. They played Albany my senior year in high school. So I knew what I was getting into. I knew we had a chance. And we just took steps every year and got better. And we always talked about making that step in the tournament to get past that first round. And this year, it just paid off, all the hard work and what everyone did this year. This team, group of guys, I couldn't ask to do it with a better group of guys, with coaches and all them.
Does being local make it better?
Yeah, a little bit, absolutely, I think. Being local and having all my friends be able to enjoy this with me and family and everybody, it's been unbelievable. To have my grandparents come to almost every home game was just, I couldn't ask for anything else. To be able to share this with all these people, it's kind of, words can't describe this whole ride that we've gone through this entire year.
Eric, talk a little bit about the adversity, because last year you tried to give it a go, played a couple games, and I know you were really wedded to your graduating class and kind of thought about just going out with those guys. Talk about the injury, kind of the emotional struggles of not being able to do what you knew you could do last year, and just how that motivated and propelled you this year, especially in this magnificent tournament you had.
Well, yeah, it was tough last year, just to be able to sit on the sideline and see all the guys, my best friends, Matty Langan, all those guys, DJ Comer, not be able to play with them, not be able to, go out with them. But, I knew that I could help the team this year. I knew last year if I tried to push through that I would actually kind of end up hurting the team to help it, because, I could barely run, I couldn't dodge, definitely just, lacrosse skills and everything were not nearly where I wanted them to be. So this year, just all the hard work and everything last year with the rehab and just sitting on the sideline, just seeing how, I mean, this team kind of came together this year. It was just, I mean, I couldn't ask for more. This, the way everything played out this year, I mean, I could have never drew it out. I mean, this has just been unreal. I mean, I really can't describe how this year's been. I mean, probably the best decision of my life last year is shutting it down, talking to the coach, and be like, listen, like I mean, I feel like I can help the team next year. And I mean, they believed in me, and they kind of let me do my thing. So I give credit to the coaches and everybody that kind of believed in me and knew that I was going to come back and I was going to work my tail off in the offseason.
Eric, I wonder if you and maybe another player could talk a little bit about what we were talking about earlier. I mean, with all the success that Loyola's teams have had culminating with your championship, has it, are more people talking to you about Loyola, like especially like non-Loyola people, or people, what's the feedback you've been getting as a result of this great year that Loyola is having on the athletic field?
I mean, I feel like it begins with just Jimmy Patsos and the basketball team, just how they kind of went to the national tournament, and I mean, that got the whole student section and all the alumni and everybody kind of fired up for the whole, I guess, super fan atmosphere. But that led right into our lacrosse season. So I mean, it was just, I mean, from winning, I think, I don't even know how many games we won in a row, but just from this whole year and having the support from the fans, the alumni, and everybody around Baltimore, it was just, I mean, a lot more people were talking about Loyola than Hopkins this year, I think.
Yeah.
For sure. JP, can you fill in on that a little bit more too?
I mean, Coach Jimmy says it all the time. We have the best fans in lacrosse. Our student body, at the national championship game in Foxborough, the stands were packed with green and gray. I mean, it was really special. And I think they deserve a lot of credit because they've been with us all these years, and they packed the house here at Ridley, and they come and they give us a lot of support, and that gives us motivation. Our academic staff, the professors and people that work within Loyola have just been so supportive of us. The president of the school, the deans, everybody's just they've given us words of credit. They give us credit, and they come in and talk to us a couple times and give us a little motivation. It's been really neat, experiencing that throughout the university, and it's really just like one big family here at Loyola, and I think every Greyhound feels the same way about the whole school.
JP, over the years, you've seen celebratory things on athletic fields, trophies being held up, and confetti coming down and all that, I'm sure. I mean, what's it like when it's happening to you?
I didn't really know what to think at first. I think that, I was almost like relieved because, I mean, it's hard not to think about it, but you really think about, the 5 minutes after the game. You just want to get to that point. You just want to be champions. You don't really want to think about the game that much. You just want to get through it. And once it happened, you almost you take a step back. And one cool thing was the bus ride home. I mean, we're sitting there and you look around at people's faces and you just say, wow, this is something special, and this is really this is a moment right now that I'm with my buddies and I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. And I mean, it's a pretty great feeling.
Coach, one thing that dominant championship teams seem to really have in common, outside of the talent, is the intangibles. And when guys care about each other, they seem to play a little bit harder. And just watching the game yesterday, you could get a sense that these guys were really bonded. Talk a little bit about the year, what you saw from these guys. You made a quote yesterday about the adversity and the guys handling it with class. Give us a sense for maybe outside of the skills on the field of how you guys came together this year and cared about each other.
I think it starts probably when the freshmen arrive. Just when you see how the upperclassmen interact with the freshmen, making sure that they understand the Greyhound way, things that we think are important, discipline, how we go about our business on the field and off. I think it starts there. I also believe that we have the good fortune to go on a retreat with campus ministries in the fall, and I watched a team as a coach come together where the coaches take the back seat and it's driven by campus ministries and our seniors and our leaders within our program, and they get up and talk about faith. They get up and talk about things much other than lacrosse, much different. Their backgrounds, their families, their struggles. And in my opinion, we grow as a program. We become a better lacrosse program without our helmets and gloves for those 48 hours. We walk away from that weekend, and our juniors and our seniors are sitting with our freshmen and sophomores at the dinner tables. And that, to me, again, is just a special, special weekend that I'm sure every college kid, recognizes that he's given up a weekend, and it's like, oh my gosh, we're going where? Oh my God. But when we all come back on that bus on Sunday, we know we've gotten better as a program. Things like that. Obviously, dealing with the emotions that, trying to help Sean O'Sullivan get through, his mom's fight with pancreatic cancer, and, that galvanizing this team to just close ranks. I've always said that I don't believe there's a university out there that closes ranks better than ours, because of our support system, because of our Jesuits, because of our, small nature of school, small class sizes. Teachers care about the individual. You're not a number. And I think that really helps our student athletes to develop the character that they have. Obviously, as a program, when Sean's mom passed away right after our Duke win, the way that, again, we were able to pick the pieces up with Sean and help him and hold him high. And, for Sean to get up and talk to his team before the semifinal game and said, you guys are here for me, I'm going to be here for you. Kid's a warrior, and that's what we have.
Coach, preseason, a lot of the publications had you guys outside of the top 20.
Yep.
How did you use that as motivation, and what did you know that a lot of the so-called experts didn't know about what you were bringing to the season?
The character. We had guys that could snipe it on both sides of the field. We had Sean O'Sullivan who could snipe it in the midfield. We had the biggest face-off heart in the nation. Joe Fletcher, the best ground ball defenseman in the nation. I knew we were better than where they saw us. I didn't know how much better, but I knew we were better. And with the work ethic that our seniors demanded of our team, I thought we had a chance to be pretty good.
Didn't you have the guys running wind sprints early at that first practice as a correlation to that supposed ranking? Just break that down for me.
I wasn't there that day.
Okay.
That was the assistant coaches. Assistant coaches ran them 21 times for, I believe, where we were preseason ranked, and for each one, they called out the university's name that was ranked ahead of us. We ran one sprint last night.
What's it look like from the top of the mountain?
Pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
For the players, each kid that picks up a stick or a basketball or a football dreams of winning that national title. And when you guys think about the first time you put on that helmet and learn how to play this game, and just up to last night and sitting there next to that trophy, start with Scott and just go down to you guys. Just what are your thoughts knowing that you've accomplished the ultimate goal that 99% of the kids will never accomplish in this game?
It's definitely special. We kind of find yourself saying throughout this whole process that it hasn't hit me yet. I think it'll hit me after the last game, or I think it'll hit me when I get back to Baltimore. But honestly, I don't know if it's probably hit me when I'm Coach Toomey's age, sitting there. Because it just feels so unreal. It feels like you're dreaming throughout the whole time. It's pretty fun.
I mean, just to reiterate what Scott said, it's just been unreal, the whole journey. I mean, for us seniors to go out this way, I mean, you couldn't ask for more. To do it with Coach Toomey and the coaches that we have, and team in the locker room. It's just been, I mean, it's been a blessing this whole year to be able to do it with this group of guys.
It was really exciting because, you know, our preseason goal, like the goal we set for our team was to play on Memorial Day and win a national championship. And, you know, it's been a lifelong dream for me, and I know, you know, for every guy next to me. And it's an amazing feeling to know that, you know, you accomplished that goal that you set out to do. And you deserve, and credit goes to, you know, every single person had a role to play all year long. And, you know, we were able to do it, and it's really, like, satisfying knowing that, you know, I get to leave Loyola with a national championship and a degree.
Just going off what these guys said, they pretty much said it all, but it's really just such a surreal feeling. I mean, growing up, we all watched these tournament games, the Final Four, like dreamed about playing in them. I mean, we've all been to them growing up. All lacrosse kids go pretty much, and when you see these players, you think, I mean, now it's funny looking back on it, but you're like, oh, these guys are like superstars, celebrities. And I mean, just to get here and to win the national championship is really an unreal experience. And like Scott was saying, it really hasn't set in. I don't know when it will. It's just unreal.
Will it settle in when you see some of the guys across the field, some of the Maryland players, to make it any more sweet? Coach, you mentioned, you know, you guys had the headline in the town over Hopkins, but obviously it's sweet to win, but to do it over another local school?
No, this is about us. No.
But is there a feeling you've brought the program into the light, though, given the crowded nature of the geography around here? I mean, that's pretty big in that regard, wouldn't you say?
Don't mind being in the shadows. This team lived in the shadows all year long. Look where we